Why is Node.js asynchronous debugging challenging? Imagine trying to follow a conversation where everyone speaks at once and jumps between topics. That's what debugging in Node.js feels like sometimes. It's because Node.js uses a style called asynchronous programming, which means tasks don't happen one after another. Instead, they run at the same time or in a different order. This makes it tricky to see exactly what's going on at any moment. In Node.js, the main idea is to keep the program running smoothly without waiting for slow tasks like reading files or making network requests. It uses callbacks, promises, and the newer async and await syntax to handle these tasks. But because these methods don't run in a straight line, it's hard to track the flow of the program. When errors happen, they can be buried deep inside nested callbacks or lost in promise chains. One big problem is called callback hell. That's when callbacks are nested inside other callbacks, creating a maze of code that's hard to read and even harder to debug. It's like trying to find your way through a tangled web. This nesting makes it difficult to see what code is responsible for what, especially when bugs pop up. Timing issues are another challenge. Asynchronous tasks can finish in any order, so bugs related to timing are common. For example, a database query might return after a user has already moved on, causing unexpected behavior. Debugging these issues requires understanding exactly when each task completes, which isn't always straightforward. Traditional debugging tools relying on call stacks that show the sequence of function calls. But in asynchronous code, these stacks can be misleading or incomplete because callbacks execute later, outside the original flow. This means errors can appear disconnected from their source, making it hard to trace back to where the problem started. Handling errors in promises and async functions adds another layer of difficulty. If errors aren't caught properly, they can silently fail or cause unhandled promise rejections. These rejections might not show up immediately, so you might not realize there's a problem until much later. This can make bugs seem mysterious or hard to reproduce. Memory leaks are also a concern. Asynchronous code can hold onto resources longer than needed, especially with async await. These leaks can slow down your application over time, and finding them requires special tools and knowledge of how async operations manage memory. Debugging tools for Node.js do exist, like async hooks, but they can be complex to use. Sometimes they don't give a full picture of what's happening behind the scenes. Developers often need to add extra logging, set breakpoints carefully, or use specialized utilities to trace asynchronous events. To make debugging easier, many developers prefer to write asynchronous code with async and await. This style makes the code look more like regular, sequential code, which is easier to follow. Proper error handling with try and catch blocks or promise catch methods is also essential. Using debugging tools that support asynchronous contexts, along with detailed logging, helps track the flow of operations. In the end, mastering Node.js asynchronous debugging is about understanding how the event loop works and how async patterns behave. It's also about using the right tools and writing clear, manageable code. When you do, fixing bugs becomes less of a puzzle and more of a straightforward process.